Fun Radio. All right, guys, we are on episode 2. I do not know what I'm going to name it yet. This is a completely live show. We're going to figure out what's naming at the end, though. I guess it's not completely live because it is recorded, but there is no room for editing from start to finish. It's all just me talking to you guys, and I've got a great show for you. The last episode did not really have that much of a structure. It was really meant to be more of like a rough draft, and I kind of liked how funny and slow it was, and so I was just like, let's release it. But this one does have a structure. We're going to start with, well, first off, I got to fix a lot of the things that I said in the first episode. And then then we're going to go to funny news, and then movie reviews, and then I'm going to talk about Interview with a Stranger. We do not have a stranger to interview this episode. And then we're going to talk about Who's That Headliner, and that's kind of the main segment in every episode. We're going to be talking about Who's That Headliner. And I love comedy, I love clean comedy, but we're just going to go through just the very best comedians, where they came from, how they got to where they are, and kind of what they mean to me, and we'll kind of go from there. So, again, my name is Hiram Ray. This is Fun Radio. Hopefully we will have a Patreon page up soon, so you guys can, drop $1 or $2 if you want. But this is a completely free podcast. We want families, friends, anyone of any religion, race, whether you're LGBTQ or not, anyone really. We want everyone to be listening to this podcast and having a fun time. And the reason for that is that I believe very strongly that people need a break from the day-to-day pains and stressors. All of us are going through it. We understand that. I understand that we're all kind of going through rough times, and so let's just give ourselves a break, just kind of see what's funny, try to have a laugh, and then we can get back to it. But for this show, I just want to give people that break that they need, and just kind of remind ourselves to think lightly, try to see the fun and the funny things that are happening around us, and keep a positive mindset. So, things I did wrong last time. I don't know. Maybe I said it wrong. I don't think I said it wrong, but you guys just haven't done anything. You can reach out to the show at thisisfunradio@gmail.com. That is the email. My own mother listened to this show. She did not email me. Also, speaking of parents, happy Father's Day. That was a huge day this weekend. I love my father very much. He's a great dad to me. And I'll never forget in the 7th grade when I was having a really rough time, my dad came to me and he said, what's wrong? And I said, Dad, I have no friends. I am all alone. And he said, I'll be your best friend. And that meant a lot to me, and it still means a lot to me. But after that first episode, even he did not email in. So, kind of struggling on that best friend part, just saying. No, I'm just kidding. I love you, Dad. But we got to get some people emailing in. Again, that is thisisfunradio@gmail.com. So, first question that I asked for people to email in about was, do you have any funny stories of people at your job quitting their job? Now, I did not receive any emails, but I do have a friend named Jordan Williams. And Jordan Williams, he talked to me about how he quit his job. And the way he did it was he put in his 2 weeks like a good person. And he was filling out, he was doing the work. He was doing the time, and was on his very last day when his boss was giving him a hard time. And during his last shift, his boss was giving him a hard time about 4 hours into his 8-hour shift. And so he just handed him the keys and walked out that door. And that's a great feeling for Jordan. I don't know how that would hurt him I don't know if the place that he quit would ever give him a good recommendation in the future, but that's got to feel good as a person. I've actually done a similar thing. I had one job. I actually didn't agree with the company. They're a very sales-like company, and I don't love sales. There's a good way to do sales if you're doing it genuinely and you actually love the company and you believe in what you sell and you're doing it honestly. But a lot of sales can be quite dishonest, and I felt like this company was quite dishonest, and so I was having a hard time with it, and I wasn't picking up the phone as often as I should have. And so they called me in the office. They were like, "You haven't been picking up the phone. What's going on?" And I was like, "I don't love this company. Is there any way I could just work on the emails?" Which they said I could kind of move over to emails, but they had kind of been taking their time on actually moving me over because they needed people on the phones. Well, I was like, I can't do this. And they kind of gave me this little pep talk that didn't mean much to me. And so I went back to my desk. I just put all of my things, I cleared my table, put everything in my bag, and I walked out of there. And as I was walking out, one of the managers realized what I had done, that I'd cleared off my desk. And she was like, "Wait, where are you going?" And I just didn't respond. I just kept going. And I've never heard from that company since. And not to say that they're a bad company. Everyone's got different ways of doing what they do. I just didn't agree with it. It just wasn't for me. But everyone's different. And, if I ever had a problem that company could fulfill, because they did help many people. I'm sure they do help several people. I just felt like they could have been more honest in how they did it. Now, something else I did wrong in the first episode. I said 6V. I said I would escape a crime scene with a 6V car. That is not correct. It's a V6. I'm so sorry. That made me sound dumb. Learn your cars, Hiram. Next thing, I said North Charleston. That is North Charleston, and I never gave the state. Yeah, so the man who was escaping on the tractor was in North Charleston, South Carolina. I don't know how I missed giving you guys the state, but I did, and that is embarrassing. That's on me. Hiram, learn your states. Okay, next thing I got wrong. I said, I'm pretty sure Lilo and Stitch and How to Train Your Dragon are like the only movies that have come out this month. I was way off. There are tons of movies. I am now signed up for Letterboxd. I'm signed up for news because I want to give you guys a good show every time. So, yes, there are more movies that have come out other than just How to Train Your Dragon and Lilo and Stitch. However, I'm not aware of a lot of them. But the last Mission Impossible, I believe it's called The Reckoning. I had it here just a second ago. It was a great movie. I have not seen it, and I will be giving you guys movie reviews every single episode, but they will be on movies that I have actually seen, because I do not have the money to go out and watch new movies. However, as this podcast takes off, I promise I will be watching the newest of movies as I get the money to do that. So if you guys want to hear about newer movies, help me out, watch it, watch the podcast, share the podcast with your friends, and maybe even send me a specific amount of money saying, go watch this movie, I want to hear a review on it. So I could totally do something like that for you. Now, we're getting our Patreon up. We don't have it up quite yet, but it will be up. And so let's move on to funny news. So the funny news that I want to give you guys will be 3 news articles that I just think are the funniest news articles that I could find for that in those few days. So, that's another thing I really want you guys to know and remember. Every episode I'll have 3 episodes coming out each week. Tuesday mornings, Thursday mornings, and Sunday mornings. Each episode will be about 30 to 45 minutes, and If you watch that first episode, I do suggest watching it on 1.5 speed. I am talking super slow throughout it, and it is difficult to hear. I am pretty funny at certain parts, but you kind of gotta wait for it. It's a slow burn sort of a thing, and if that's not your style of comedy, I am sorry. But maybe give me another shot. I can do this. I can make you laugh if you give me a chance. And maybe I can't. Maybe I'm just not for you, and that's totally okay as well. But if I'm not for you, send me to your friend. Send the podcast to your friend that you're like, yeah, he's kind of weird. You'd probably like to listen to this guy. So, back on topic, the news. All right, 3 articles. So, one of the articles actually is the not so hot pursuit that I talked about last time, because I did have a friend text me and they were like, I wanted to hear more about this tractor guy. The thing about it, so it happened in North Charleston, South Carolina, and honestly there was not a lot about this. He was running away at 3 miles per hour. It was a burglary. There was a burglary call from a business. It was heavily damaged. The police showed up. They saw a tractor going away, like fleeing the scene as fast as it could flee. And they're like, let's go check that guy out. It happened to be this guy, but they chased him for for an hour and 12 minutes, which is, like I said last time, just over 3 miles. If your grandmother was jogging at a slow pace, she would have beat this tractor. The cop cars had to stop several times throughout this chase because they were waiting for it to just keep on chugging along. And so there were several times the cop cars were just completely stopped waiting for it to keep moving. Now, who was this guy and why did he do it? The 53-year-old driver of the excavator, he was charged, we don't know his name, actually. There's no name given. And he was jailed up. He was put in handcuffs. He remains in the Charleston County Jail on a $22,000 bond, but they're not giving us his name, and they're not even telling us why he did it. But I'm guessing if you're gonna run away on a tractor, that means there's not a lot of thought put into this, which means he was very upset. So what did this business do to this man that he would have to find a tractor? It's probably his tractor, okay? I used that word wrong. He got into his tractor, and then he went and he burglarized this place. I don't really know what that means, to burglarize. I'm guessing it's a lot like thefting. That's what I would guess. A lot of things missing and damaged. So that's what that guy did. That's all that's in this news report. So if you want more on that, you're going to have to stay up to date on the South Carolina, North Charleston news, because I probably will. If I find it, I'll let you know. Next topic. So, there was a Kentucky man. He was arrested for releasing a raccoon into an open business and then trying to get away. Now this man, they caught him, and I will tell you his name. It's Jonathan Mason. He's 40 years old, and he has kind of a funny history. He was caught before. He was acting kind of erratic at a bar, and the police were called, and he tried to run from the police, and he was not running in your normal sense of running from the police. He was actually on a mule, and he was drunk. And the funniest part of that story to me is that he, sorry, I'll try not to laugh. He had the mule was taken into custody as well. And they had to watch over this mule as they as they worked out everything legally with this guy. But he was drunk. The mule was not. Actually, I don't know. Maybe the mule was. Maybe this mule was normally a law-abiding mule. But this time, the mule was like, I don't know what to do. I'm a little tipsy. My father figure, my owner is drunk. He's not making correct choices. I'm a little tipsy. I'm not making the right choices either now. And maybe normally, if he hadn't been given his mule something to drink, maybe the mule would have pulled over on his own. Just been like, all right, Jonathan, let's make a smarter choice together. And that's really what I believe about that mule. Now, last piece of news that I think is hilarious. This article has gone viral. You got Bruce, the dog. He's the Nationals bat retrieving dog. He's not... I don't understand what's wrong with people and the way that they put this news out. Because they say he's the Nationals bat retrieving dog. He is not. He is not the Nationals bat retrieving dog. He normally gets bats for the... Come on, it's right here. He normally picks up bats for a AAA team, and it's the Red Wings. Yes. No. Hold on. Okay. So he normally picks up bats for a AAA team, and he's a puppy, and so he's working his way to get to the major leagues. This dog is doing it. He's living his best dream. He's a lot like those Cubs I talked about last episode, where they want to grow up and be actors. But in his case, he doesn't want to be an actor. He wants to be a major league bat-grabbing, fetching dog. All right? That's his dream, and he's going to do it. And the thing about him, though, is that he got cut short, man. He showed up. He drove all night with his owner. They got there at 3 a.m. He came out. He had some awesome practices, doing his thing, fetching some bats in practice time before the game. People were loving him, taking pictures of him. He had this awesome scarf thing on. It said his debut. It said like it was his debut as a Major League Baseball bat fetcher. I don't know the right. He's a fetcher though. He's this fetching dog. Okay. But he didn't actually get to grab any bats in the game. And then while he was... so he didn't get to pick up any bats during the game. And then afterwards, we find out that they're sending him back to the AAAs. They didn't give him a shot. And yet, everyone loved this dog so much that they put him out on the news that this dog is having his big debut and everyone loves this dog. If you love him so much, keep him in the major leagues. What are you doing? Keep kicking this dog out before he even got a chance to have a real play. It'd be like someone playing in the G League for a long time in basketball, finally getting their chance to play in the NBA, and they're just sitting on the bench for the whole game, and at the end of that game, they're like, you're going back to the G League. How disappointing. You have your chance to finally be on the roster, and then to not even play. How can you do that to this dog? His dream is to be a bat dog in the major leagues. So don't just cut this dog of his dreams like that. All right. Now we're moving on to movie reviews. So, quick little update on what I said last time. I was not sure if Toothless from the movie How to Train Your Dragon really has teeth. He does. I watched the movie, and he does have teeth. They are retractable, so it seems like... Sorry, I got a note from my editor. It seems like he doesn't have teeth, but he does have teeth. They are retractable, so they are hidden, and when he meets Hiccup, he retracts them because he's a chill dragon. He's a cool dragon. He's a trainable dragon. Now, movie reviews for How to Train Your Dragon, they are quite mixed. A lot of people do not like the copy and paste strategy that Disney took for this live action rendition of How to Train Your Dragon, because copy paste is not fun. We've already seen it in animation, and now we're watching it in 80% not animation, and then the other 20% is just really amazing animation. Again, we don't have the dragons. I don't know where. Maybe we could go to Brazil and get some real dragons, but they're not putting in that kind of work. All right, and so we're stuck with these animation dragons. And again, they're just not. They're not going out of the box on this one. They're just sticking with it. Now, funny enough, when I was reading the reviews about Lilo and Stitch, and again, I have not seen Lilo and Stitch, I myself was upset reading the reviews because I had a spoiler given. I will not give a spoiler to you. It's a slight spoiler. It's nothing major. But I read a review that said they changed the bad guy in the live-action Lilo and Stitch, and my world was rocked. I was like, how are you going to change the bad guy in Lilo and Stitch? You can't just change the whole movie. And other people felt the same way. They were rocked by this change to Lilo and Stitch. And then I thought about the How to Train Your Dragon fans, and they're upset that it's a copy and paste from the animation. And I realized you just can't please us, Disney. You can't please us. No matter what you do, we'll never be happy. We want you to create more Disney princesses. That's really what we want. We want some original Disney princesses. Just bring back some good old-fashioned Disney princesses with the good old-fashioned morals and values and a random just all the things. That's what we want, I think. Unless you don't want that. Then maybe email me in. Tell me what Disney should really do. Now, so that is 2 movies. Again, I want to do... actually, I'm not sure if I should do 3 movie reviews or just a movie review every time. But I want to at least give you a movie review of something I have seen. Now, I have not seen the movie Mission Impossible: The Reckoning. I haven't seen it, but the way people felt about it, a lot of people were given 3.5 stars and saying it's amazing and it's incredible, and Tom Cruise is just fantastic. He did amazing, finished off strong, and that's about how I feel about most Mission Impossible movies. It's like, you could leave it or take it, honestly, but it's still incredible in its own way. Like, if you get into it, you start watching it, you're not going to stop watching that. You're not going to turn it off. If someone wants to go to the store, you're not going to turn it off to go to the store. If someone wants to go get food, you're not going to go to get food in the middle of that. But you might go to get food and come back and watch it. And you might go get food after you watch it. It's a great movie, though. And so if you've got friends that are watching it, you're definitely going to sit down and you're going to watch the rest of that movie. So I think he did a fantastic... Oh, I haven't seen it. To be honest, I haven't seen it. So I need to go watch that. Anyways, I want to give you a movie review of a movie I have seen. And since I talked about the 6V V6 thing, the mistake I made yesterday, if I was to escape from a crime, I would probably be driving a V6 vehicle, because I do not drive stick shift. I just can't drive stick. And so, with that being said, I need to learn more about cars, and I need to watch, and this brought to mind Fast and Furious. Because if I watch more Fast and Furious, I think I could have the skills to drive a better car. So with that, I am going to now give you my review of first movie of the Fast and Furious franchise, which is The Fast and the Furious. Not to be mixed up with Fast and Furious, which is another movie, but The Fast and the Furious, the first one. So honestly, I don't understand the Fast and the Furious because they are bad people and they are making they are committing serious crimes, and we start to feel for them because they're a family and because they're struggling, and I sort of have a hard time with why Paul Walker's character, I think it's Brian, why he starts to feel for him and then he changes over to their side, and then he leaves he leaves being a narc behind, and he wants to be a good person who is on the bad guy's side. And in the end of the movie, they are still bad guys. And throughout the franchise, it's just slowly working on these guys becoming more and more good guys, that their skills of being bad guys can work in their good to become, so that we actually feel good about them doing bad things. And so I would probably give it about 3.5 stars, and it's an amazing movie. Now, this segment that we have just got to, this segment is called Interview a Stranger. And I want to interview a stranger. Please, what we will do is you guys will email in to thisisfunradio@gmail.com. Give us the name of someone and their phone number and why we should interview them. And the interview will just be about 5 minutes. We will text them first and ask if we can call them during the show. And they just need to be available during the show. Because this is live, we're doing it with no edits. So they just need to be available during the show. We will call them, ask them, interview them. And if you have a funny message you want us to tell them at the end of it, that would be great as well. But we kind of want some interaction with fans, and we will shout you out as well. And I don't know, would we give them a shout out as well? We'll talk about it. We might give them a shout out, but we really want them to start listening to the show. So it will be fun for everyone. Now, since we do not have a stranger to interview today, we are going to be jumping straight up. Oh, Patreon is set up. That was the message I got from my editor, slash manager, slash social media director. So it says Patreon is now set up. You can go there at This Is Fun Radio, and you can leave $1 or $100, and that would be really appreciated. Again, I spent all my money on this getup, so we're going to try to get as many followers as we can. Whether you want to, send some money my way or not does not matter to me. I just hope that we can kind of grow this podcast together. You guys can see us go from like no followers, or the few followers that are listening right now, to a real show where we have a lot of people commenting in and just having fun. Maybe we could get another host and make it more conversational throughout the show, and that's something actually I think I would love. I just don't have the means to do that right now. But going to the main point and main part of the show, we are now starting our last segment. Who is that headliner? Now, I am going to give you guys some clues as to who this headliner is, and you guys will kind of guess and hopefully kind of figure it out before I get to it. Now, this comedian, so they're all going to be comedians because I am a comedian. So, this comedian, he's known for clean and observational comedy, and he delivers a highly physical, expressive style. He draws inspiration from legends like Johnny Carson, Steve Martin, George Carlin, and Richard Pryor. One of his favorite comedians is Jerry Seinfeld. And he's been on David Letterman about 28 times. He's been on Jimmy Fallon. He's been on Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee. And he's even partnered with Netflix and Jerry Seinfeld for his special Nunchucks and Flamethrowers. None other than we have Brian Regan today. So, Brian Regan is an incredible comedian. He was the first comedian I was ever introduced to. I was 12 years old when I found his comedy special. I had the wrong one here. What is it? I Walked on the Moon? Let's find it really quick. Brian Regan, I Walked on the Moon. Now, I found this when I was like 12 years old. Yes, I believe it's called I Walked on the Moon. And I listened to it so much, I could probably tell you, even today, most of the words. I could recite for you a lot of this comedy. It's just brilliant. It's really well done. And it's done in such a small... I actually don't really know how big this audience is, but it feels like it should be done for a much larger audience. It's so well done. And so I have loved Brian Regan since I was a kid, to the point that like I learned all of his lines, all of his jokes, and I was thrilled when he came out with On the Rocks in 2021. He is absolutely hilarious. I only have good things to say about him. But let's go through his story. So he was ChatGPT says he was shy growing up. I really doubt he was shy. He seems quite the opposite of shy, at least in his comedy. But he got all the way into college before he really knew what he wanted to do. And he took a speech class, and during this speech class, he said he had to write a speech for the speech class, obviously, and he got up there, he wanted to have some fun with it, so he wrote a funny speech, and he said he had the whole class laughing really hard, and he said what really got him was that he looked over and even the teacher was, even the professor, I guess, was rolled back like in her seat or his seat, just laughing really hard, and it felt awesome. And as he was walking back to his college dorm from that experience, he said it felt like he was floating on a cloud. And one of my favorite interviews with him is he goes, I never got that feeling coming out of chemistry. I'll tell you that. And it's true. I completely relate with that. I've never felt good coming out of chemistry. The only feelings I ever had coming out of chemistry class was like, I'm gonna fail high school. And I don't know, what if McDonald's isn't hiring by the time I get out of high school? What if I gotta wait a few months before I get a job, Just awful feelings coming out of normal classes. But I really resonate with that feeling of when you make people laugh, it feels like you're floating on a cloud. It feels like there's just not a better feeling than that. And so I love that story. I love learning about him. And so sorry. We got a bunch of weird questions in my ChatGPT because I was trying to figure out things about the news. So Brian Regan was born June 2nd, 1958, which makes him about the same age as my dad, actually. And he was born in Miami, Florida, and he grew up as one of 8. He had 7 siblings. That's also like me. I'm the youngest of 8. So that's kind of a fun coinkydink that I got with him. And he also played football in college, and he ended up choosing to leave his football career in 1980 to pursue comedy full-time. And I actually read somewhere that he left right before his last semester of college, he dropped out to pursue comedy full-time. And that is a crazy leap of faith, just to know, like, I am funny enough to make money doing this. And he gambled on himself. And if you're ever going to gamble, I say gamble on yourself, because that's an incredible way to do it. He has been extremely successful doing it. But he did eventually go back and get his degree in 1997, just 17 years later, after a few accomplishments in the comedy area, in this field of comedy. And he's had several specials come out. The only thing I wish he would have been in his prime during our social media epidemic. I don't know the right word. It's kind of an explosion, I guess. If he was in his prime still during this explosion of TikTok, Instagram, I think he would have been probably the biggest comedian to ever hit the stage. Unfortunately, I just don't think he ever got the publicity that some others have gotten. But obviously, it's not like he's not successful. He is very successful. To all comedians, he is one of the best to ever do it. So I'm going to finish off with some lessons that we can learn from Brian Regan. Something that I appreciate is that he finds humor in the everyday. He reminds us that consistency is key, to be genuine with everyone, and that using facial and physical expressions can and will often amplify the comedic effect. So I love the idea of finding humor in the everyday. If you are struggling to do that, that's something I kind of want to promote during this podcast and kind of help you see things. I love finding the humor in everyday things, even if it's dumb. I just got a new job recently, and when I'm helping people, at my new job, I love to say, "Oh, I'm so new. I'm so sorry. You're gonna have to be extra patient for me because I'm new." And the way that I say it and kind of bring it up, it often makes them kind of smile because they've felt that. I think we've all kind of felt that feeling of being new at something and just being absolutely awful at it because we don't know anything. And when you kind of approach life that way, it's really fun. It becomes really enjoyable when you can just find the fun in everything. Yes. So, how do I end this podcast? I am working on the sign-off, and I love you. I love you guys for listening. I appreciate you guys listening. I hope you guys will like and subscribe and share this with your friends. I am going to figure out how to do a sign-off. Please, maybe drop $1 in Patreon. And okay. Thanks for listening. We'll do this again. I'll have another one out for you guys on Thursday. Bye.
Thank you for watching This Is Fun Radio. Please share this podcast with your friends and family. It can be found on any major podcast platform or watched on YouTube.
Yeah.